You know, I once knew this terrible vampire poet, and he only went from bad to worse. Low-hanging fruit? Well, sometimes, you know. Anything for a fruit salad.
There appeared to be a passage here, leading northward into the mountains. The opening, however, was obstructed, and too high for me to reach. Perhaps later I would find the means to bypass these obstacles.
If only I had claws that could dig into this soft, mushy wood, but alas, it's not to be. God, you're a terrible vampire, Raziel. Actually, I'll take that back. As far as vampires go, you're actually pretty good. Imagine the local humans actually quite like you. Now you've sworn off the, you know, the red stuff. I mean, yes, there's the whole soul-devouring thing, but that's demonic, that's not vampiric, that's a whole different ballgame, you know? Just throw a ball at me! But yes, you know, it's got a whole different, you know, appeal, aesthetic to it, you know? More sort of old men in robes getting their just desserts and less young ladies in flowing white nightdresses, if you get my drift.
I found these ruins even more intriguing. I recognized these arcane symbols from the chamber beneath the pillars, and realized that this shrine, too, was sealed to all but the bearer of the Reaver.
Is it just me or does it look sort of like a squiggly version of the Thundercat sword? The way it's set up here. I'm not the only one seeing that, right? Expected to be attacked by Lion-O. The vampire kitty! That's Lion-O! Oh my god, it all makes so much sense now. It's gonna be one of those sort of evenings, that's great. I can always tell exactly what mood I'm in when it comes to me doing recordings by the first couple of minutes. If I'm particularly quiet and downbeat, that could be the rest of the recording session, that's what I can do about it. If I start making bizarre and silly... What are you looking at? It's a lovely shield, by the way. So unfortunately, I have a sword that literally eats your soul. So, my god, is shield possessed? Plug it in here. This was clearly the real villain all along. Yeah, the purple is really making me think of Shadow Man now. That's not a bad thing, as I've said before, I love Shadow Man. It's a bloody amazing game. I'm still disappointed that the sequel went the route that it did. I'm convinced there's something else around here that Mook kept looking at. That was probably just an AI glitch, and it was randomly glancing around when it shouldn't have been, but... you know. And I still think this is dumb. Every time you shift into Spectral, you have to fight something to recharge your health to be able to go back. It still seems dumb to me, not gonna lie. I mean, I sort of get it if you've been, like, killed, quote-unquote, and that's why you're in Spectral form. But just if you voluntarily go into Spectral mode, or, I suppose you could technically do it accidentally as well, and the game does this too, I don't think that's really fair. I also gotta say, I really think it's annoying how tiny your hitbox is compared to the enemies. And how they have the whole auto-dodge thing going on. Like, I've seen them in the middle of other animations just abruptly switch into a dodge when you try and swing at them. Incredibly frustrating. No, good, I do remember this. And I remember the first temple being fairly easy. Believe it or not. Ooh, more cutscenes, I suppose it had been 30 seconds. This is one just to let you know there's a MacGuffin you need. But I think... I remember something about this. There's two ways of doing this. The legit way and then the cheaty way. Problem is, I don't actually remember the cheaty way. If anyone who's watched my channel knows I have absolutely no compunctions about breaking games through relatively minor glitches and stuff. Easy stuff you could discover accidentally, mostly. Cutscene.
Throughout this ancient shrine, murals depicted the winged race, the apocalyptic war against their mysterious and equally inhuman adversaries. These winged beings, it seemed, were not only the architects of the pillars, but of this enigmatic place as well. And just as in the pillar's chamber, this shrine was adorned throughout with imagery of the Reaver, depicted with the reverence of a holy icon.
Which is hilarious, considering what we know of it. Interesting, though. Hey, don't really care, sorry, bud. But yeah, I remember there's a way to, like, get to that little... I think it's like a reflector plate or something. To get to it much more quickly, but I can't remember for the life of me how you do it. There's like a bit of geometry you can jump off or something, if I remember right. But it's been a very long time since I last played this. The Dark Crystal. It shines, and the last of the mystics lay dying. I need to watch that movie again. I mean, I've watched that movie within the last couple of months, but I need to watch it again. Just such a good movie. I'm incredibly disappointed with the TV show they did for Netflix. Just a little too blatant with some of the stuff they were doing, let's just put it that way. When you literally make all of the protagonists in your... Actually, I'm not even going to say it. Yeah, it wasn't great. Let's put it that way. Some odd choices in the design in general. Ow! Why do you spit on me? Perhaps he's a... Turn around, Raziel! Oh. The microphone just went dead for a second there. That's incredibly unhelpful. Thank you, game. Actually, I can't blame the game. That's my hardware in this case. Yeah, the PC's starting to feel its age, unfortunately. Bit of a downer, but there you go, right? Oh well. Never mind, never mind. So I can't really afford to replace anything at the moment because I'm saving all of my cash for the big move next year. Yeah, that's going to be a whole thing. Not exactly a culture shock, thankfully, because, you know, I spent the past, 5 years going back and forth between here and Canada. So I've got a fairly good handle on the place. Or at least the bit that I've been to, should I say. So I think things will be more or less alright. And, as my lovely lady has made a point of showing me and finding out, there are plenty of places I can go to get a bit of a taste of home. There's quite literally aisles in some of those supermarkets that are stocked with authentic British goods. So I think I'll be fine. I've got plenty of custard to go through. And baked beans. It amuses me that's considered like a cultural thing. It's not just a food type. But what do I know, right? Okay. Right, okay, sorcerers, yeah. I was trying to think, is there any particular reason that I don't just go straight up the platform? Yeah, sorcerers. One of the things they did, I don't think they did it in number 1. That's one of the things they did in this game to stop you from sort of just bypassing the... Oh, for fuck's sake, stab it. There we go. To stop you from just utterly bypassing all of the combat. Like a lot of these climb wall sections will very irritatingly... I actually nearly got killed by the Reaver. Nice. They'll have these enemies that like spit projectiles at you. That will pretty much guarantee knock you off any wall you're attempting to climb. So you're forced to go back down and fight them. Yeah, it's about as obnoxious as it sounds. Now, admittedly, you do literally only have to deal with the projectile enemies. The rest, you can pretty much ignore. I'm killing this guy just on general principle at this point, because he's like the only one left. Yeah, that still annoys me. The enemies who dodge, quote-unquote, just by ducking. Your weapon still slices straight through their body, but it counts as them evading because they ducked. Yeah, not a fan of that. If I swing and I don't connect with the enemy, fair enough. If I swing and I clearly do connect, but they're in a, you know, quote-unquote, dodge animation, then stuff that. To be quite frank. Unless I can do the same. If I can enter like a dodge animation and be completely invulnerable while I'm doing it, grand. That's not the thing in this game. You can dodge, but you actually have to be clear of the attack for it to count. So it's not the same thing. Yeah, that's my little bit of griping for now. I'm sure I'll find more later. You spin me right round... That's not what I meant to do. Yeah, there's the map. Like, I don't recall ever using it in this game. Like, I don't remember this being complex enough to warrant it. It's a fairly... Although obviously the corridors twist and turn, it's still like a corridor leads to explore area A, leads to explore area B, that sort of thing. Not exactly the kind of place you'd need a map to get around. It might be, at least anyway. Perhaps I missed. Perhaps there's stuff later on where you've got like branching paths to go to different places, and a map is useful. But I don't remember it. And the cat is attempting to climb across the floor, lying on his back and pulling himself with his claws. I think you've damaged my carpet enough, you little furry twat. Yeah, well. Yeah, as you can probably tell, I pretty clearly remember this puzzle. Not a difficult one at all. Pillar literally has a drawing out of it. Like, pillar in front of sun hole. And how do I make the sun appear? Is there a mechanism or... Ah, there we go. That was the one bit I couldn't remember right away. There are certain walls and things that you can actually blast with a Soul Reaver and it opens them. Sort of makes sense. I guess. And that... I don't actually know what that did. Wasn't that... Am I completely wrong? Wasn't that tunnel always open? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was actually, sealed and I've just not noticed. No. There's got to have been something, a reason that you had to do that to make the tunnel accessible, surely. Oh, there we go. I've got some music in there to make it a bit more epic. But don't get me wrong, as much as I love Raziel's slappy feet, it's not quite the auspiciousness that you're looking for. You can collect, an ancient relic of ancient power, which he rips straight from the pedestal. Great. And all you hear is slap lap, slap lap, slap lap. In fact, I gotta admit, now I'm listening to it, it's sort of like being menaced by a gothic Donald Duck, isn't it? Oh man. That actually was a thing. Count Duckula was a thing. Here in the UK at least, anyhow. Voiced by the indomitable David Jason, as I recall. Nanny. Oh, I don't want blood, Nanny. So, anyone who isn't of a certain age and British is not going to get that in the slightest, but I don't care. That's what I'm here for, to expose you all to new cultures, new ideas about vampiric ducks, apparently. Because nothing says Britain like a Transylvanian legend cartoonified with an anthropomorphized duck. In many ways, actually, the absurdity of that concept is actually fairly British, so I feel vaguely justified in my sentiment. Can I grab the skulls from up here? Save myself some time and effort? Come on. You know you want to let me get... Alright, they're going to spawn once I get down there. Okay. Developers are determined you must fight every time you want to go back to the physical realm, I guess. Just stab the damn thing, it's right there. I know this is partially my own fault. The game really wants me to invest in the bloody dodge mechanic and all that. I know, I get it. I just don't want to. If it's standing right in front of me and I stab it in the face, that should count as a hit. That's my counterpoint, There we go. Now that unsightly bit of spectral stabbing out of the way. Let's switch back to real world. I can't remember if I need any of these weapons. I don't think I do. Oh, there's a climbable wall, isn't there? So there's a fair chance. Yeah, there we go. Two spitties. They're literally the same things as the dumpies. It's good. Yeah, there we go. Don't think that even damages you. It just knocks you off the wall. It's just irritating. That's literally all it is. Go away. I'm beating the spindly man up. Eat foot. Yeah. Raziel wishes he could eat things. But the whole no lowered... I'm sure that even was. That was at the beginning of some sort of Cirque du Soleil routine. Yeah, the whole no lower jaw thing makes it difficult for him to snack. It's a shame, really. What if that's why he's got no pants? Every time he tries to eat... He forgets and he tries to eat something and then it just, drops straight onto his lap. I mean, obviously he'd be sat down at a table. He's not a savage. That must be it. That's the secret. That's why it is the way it is. Gotcha. Sparkly. It tells me, in addition to this obvious ramp/railway, that I can pull this. And there's a glowy thing, and we've already established this temple likes me pointing glowy things at pillars, so... It's got a shadow erection. Nice. Made of pure darkness. Oh my. What I was saying earlier about the young ladies and the flowing night dresses. Ooh, it's all wobbly and jelly-like. That's weird. Okay. Now the entranceway is to my right, so... why did that not work? Because you haven't pointed any sunlight, that'd be why. And we remember what happened last time, so... Et voila! Yeah, this is the kind of thing that's... Again, it makes me think very Shadow Man. It's going into temples with weird eldritch machinery. Although in Shadow Man it wasn't really eldritch, it was like primitively mechanical. Same end effect. This I remember. I have no idea to this day how you're supposed to figure this out. I just remember you point it to the right and that's it. That's like you're supposed to look at where the thing moves to, perhaps, when you're pushing the switch. That seems like very trial and error for a puzzle to me. There should be like some solution in the room. There probably is, and I've just never bothered to learn it. Ooh. That's very ominous. The part of me wondering if perhaps this was a bad idea. I've re-energized the dark crystal. And now the last of the Skeksis lays dying. Oh no, and now I'm shut in. Whatever shall I do? I love the music choices and everything. It just... the dramatic orchestral score with the sort of the choir going on. I love it, I really do.
As I neared the altar, I suddenly felt the Reaver quickening of its own volition. Just as in William's chapel, the balance of power tangibly shifted. Voracious and willful, the Soul Reaver was now in control.
It loves that Ribena.
Merely its helpless puppet. The Reaver plunged itself into that mysterious altar, and devouring the energy that emanated from within, drained this place of its power. Thus sated, the Reaver released me, and I realized as I recovered control that these ancient shrines were forges, each purpose-built to enhance the Reaver with elemental power.
Funky. Yep, that's our new mechanic for this game. Elemental upgrades. Although... Actually, I'll take it back. They do have some actual benefits, despite... instead of just recoloring your blade, they give you an extra ability of some sort. Like, darkness can blind certain creatures, if I remember correctly, make it basically impossible for them to see you.
Now I understood the purpose of the mysterious basins I had seen throughout my journey. They were elemental fonts, each attuned to a fundamental essence. When I forged the blade, every font in Nosgoth with the same elemental attunement was simultaneously quickened. The Reaver's enhancements were never permanent, but these fonts enabled me to re-imbue the blade by bathing it in the elemental energy distilled therein.
In gameplay terms, allows you to swap between elements without having to have a menu interface. You just find the appropriate font, jam it in, and away you go. Yeah, I think there's the darkness, fire, light.
I recognize this.
I want to say lightning, but I don't remember.
Ancient shrine, the one I had seen in the lake outside the Sarafan stronghold. Perhaps now, armed as I was with the elemental power of darkness, I could return and gain entry.
It's all about gaining that entry, mate. Trust me on that. Nice. Yeah. It's a little bit Zelda-esque. This is sort of where it diverges away from the Shadow Man template. In the Shadow Man thing, most of the temples you could at least semi-access without needing upgrades from other temples. or without needing special items. We always needed a mixture of things to be able to successfully complete them. Shadow Reaver. Soul Reaver 2 takes a more traditional approach in that you literally just can't get in to the next temple in line until you've completed the previous one. There's no and if or buts about that. Makes for a much more linear experience, but also means you can craft your temple, I suppose, in a bit more...
You're a ragged excuse
Lionel!
for a savior. Vorador. I see my reputation precedes me.
It does.
All good, I hope? I've been watching you since you emerged from that accursed stronghold. Strange that your arrival coincides with the corruption of the pillars. But
Your voice is a bit robo.
Are you the catalyst
Then again,
of
that's
these
recording
events,
software of the day, I guess.
or the answer to them?
I don't know what you mean.
I will speak plainly then.
Ha!
I distrust your origins, stranger. Seeing you crawl from the putrid depths of Mobius's keep makes me question your purpose here. And what should I make of your appearance? Not human, clearly, and more demon than vampire. And the pillars. It is no mere coincidence that your arrival in that clearing heralded the pillars' decay. And so I ask you plainly, are you the instrument of the pillars' destruction, or their salvation?
There was nothing plain about that.
Very well. Let us look at the other side of the coin. I have followed your journey and watched as you blithely unlocked secrets that have been sealed and forbidden for thousands of years. The path you have been treading is open to only one being. You don't know what you are, do you?
I have been many things. If you find me ignorant, enlighten me.
What's the point? This world is beyond redemption. Let the human cattle have it.
I would expect better than meek capitulation from you.
Centuries of persecution have taught me well. 500 years ago, our race was nearly exterminated by the fanatical crusades of the Seraphan. And now the same sick drama unfolds again. In merely a decade, Mobius's cutthroat citizen army has nearly accomplished what the Seraphan could not. Vampires meddling in the affairs of men. Look where it's brought us.
What am I to make of these secrets I've uncovered, then?
I just realised my microphone self-muted itself for the past God knows how many minutes. That's going to be fun to re-edit.
Fairy tales, boy. The delusions of an ancient culture clinging to hope long after the world had discarded them. Their bloodline trickled away until only one of the ancients remained, sustained solely by obligation and his unfaltering faith in the old prophecies. But you see, even if you are who you appear to be, it no longer matters. You're simply too late. Janos Audron, the Reaver Guardian, the last of the ancients, and my maker, was murdered by
Lay's
the
dying.
Sandman nearly 5 centuries ago.
Dope.
He alone would have the
Not a problem for
answers
time
you
travel, though.
seek, but his secrets died with him. I don't know how you've come even this far without his guidance, or without the Reaver.
Pure dumb luck.
These 500 years ago by the Seraphan. I'm
Well,
afraid, my friend, that you and all of us are out of luck.
I had no less
He turned into
reason to
farty
trust
gas.
Vorador than anyone else I had met. In fact, the ancient vampire was the most forthright being I had encountered thus far.
that says a lot, doesn't it?
If Janos Audron was the key to all this, then I would find him, and Mobius's time-streaming device would provide me passage. But first, I had to find a way back into the stronghold.
No, first,
I
mate, we
suspected
need
I would
lunch.
find the means within
Then
the
we come
relics'
back.
mysterious shrine.